It is not lost on me that the week I preach on honoring father and mother, my mom is here. She spoke at the women's retreat this past weekend in Naples, and from what I've heard and from what I have read via Twitter, she crushed it. Absolutely crushed it. And when I say crushed it, for those of you who are perhaps a little bit older, I mean that's a good thing, okay? Crushing it's a good thing, all right? But in other words, the reason I point out that she's here is because I have a physical witness here this morning, and it wasn't planned, by the way. Okay, this was not planned. I didn't look at the schedule of my sermons and when she was going to be here, and if I would have known that she was going to be sitting here on the morning that I was preaching this commandment, I would have been tempted to skip it. Or to just sort of go on and on about the one that I did 2 weeks ago. But I have a physical witness here who can testify to my inability to keep this commandment. Not that you had any doubt whatsoever that I was capable of keeping this commandment, but she's here, and she suffered through me and continues to suffer through me in a variety of different ways. But in a twist of irony, what I want to say about my mom right now is honoring. So, give me a few minutes. About 10, 11 years ago, my mom went through a difficult season in life, and I was a brand new church planter in the South Florida area back in 2003, and she was going through a painful, difficult season in life that I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand it because I was a Pharisee. And I was dishonoring to her in my heart. I was dishonoring to her with my mouth. I was dishonoring to her in my mind. I just couldn't understand why this woman who I had always believed was together was in some ways falling apart. And I was judgmental. She had been an idol to me for so long, and I was now face to face with her humanness, and I couldn't understand it. I couldn't comprehend it, and I couldn't comprehend it because I was a self-righteous, law-laden Pharisee. And so this is what I want to say. Mom, your brokenness and your failures have taught me more about grace than any of your put-togetherness ever did. And when I thought you had it all together, as a child and as a teenager, when I thought you had it all together and I knew that I didn't, so many of your words fell on deaf ears to me, because I had developed her in my mind as someone who was flawless, and I knew how flawed I was. She was good, I was bad, and so when she would speak to me, when she would advise me, counsel me, yell at me, it fell on deaf ears. But now I hang on every word you say. I need you, and I depend on you, and my commitment to preach the grace of God to guilty people is in large part because of you. You get it. You get it. And while I'm grateful to you for all the change diapers and hugs and kisses and words of encouragement you gave me growing up, your ministry to me now is so much stronger than it ever was, ever. And sometimes I was thinking about this week, Sometimes we think that being good is the qualifier for us having an effective ministry. That's our natural default mode. That to have an effective, fruitful ministry, goodness is a prerequisite, that it's, in a sense, required, but the truth is that no one is good. And our ministries become effective when we acknowledge our badness and when we live out of our brokenness, and that's what you do. You were paid probably the best compliment, in my opinion, that could be paid. Yesterday, as I got a text message from Hope, my niece, who said, Mama G is just killing it. Mama G is what we call her, what her grandchildren, her 19 grandchildren call her. And she said, Hope said, this may be the best speaker we've ever had. She said, she reminds me so much of Steve Brown, minus the voice. Older, honest, broken, transparent, and pointing to Jesus. And I can only hope that as I get older, as we get older, and guys, I've said this 1,000 times, that is the definition, the biblical definition of Christian growth. It's not what they told us it was. It's not, I'm getting stronger and stronger and more competent every day so that I need Jesus less now than I did when God first saved me. That's not Christian growth. Christian growth is, as I get older and become wiser, I become increasingly aware of how weak and incompetent I am and how strong and competent Jesus is and continues to be for me. That's Christian growth. That's the way it's described. That's the way Paul describes it. And so the truth is that if you're afraid to let anyone see your badness, it reveals just how much you've built your identity on appearing to be good. Okay, think about that for a second. If you're afraid to let anyone see your badness, what it reveals is that we have built our identity on the appearance of being good. What if people knew your secrets? And what if people saw you without your mask on? What if those closest to you knew what you really thought about them in those dark moments? What if everyone saw precisely what you did in secret? All of those sorts of things. It reveals to me and to the rest of us that if we are afraid to let anyone see our badness, it shows just how much we have built our identity on the appearance of goodness. So, Mom, you're honest because you're free, and you're free because you don't pretend that you have it all together. And you don't pretend that you have it all together because you understand that who you are is not anchored in what you do or who other people think you are. It's anchored in what Jesus has done for you. So I love you, I honor you, and I am forever grateful that you are a struggler and a lover of God's grace. And that has taught me more about who I am and who God is and the radicality of his one-way love than anything you ever said to me. So thank you. Love you.